So, you've heard everyone raving about Xero accounting software, and you're wondering, is it really worth it for my small business? Maybe you have already signed up, but every time you log in, you feel a little bit lost. You're not sure if you're using it properly or if you're even getting your money's worth. Well, in this video, I'm giving you my full, honest review of Xero. This comes from me as a chartered accountant who's helped hundreds of UK business owners go from confused to confident with their numbers so that you can decide if Xero is the right fit for you. Now, here is what I see all the time. Small business owners sign up to Xero thinking that it's going to do the accounting and bookkeeping for them. They assume that it will magically sort out the VAT, the payroll, the taxes, with needing to do very little work themselves. And then they realize that this is not the case. They think, is there an issue with the software, or is it how I'm using it? And when they log into their Xero, it's so often that they see more of a mess, and this mess just keeps growing. Mismatched bank balances, duplicate transactions, profit and loss reports that make no sense. And if that sounds familiar, don't worry, it's not just you. Xero is a powerful tool, but it is not plug and play. If you've ever thought, I must be doing something wrong, you're actually ahead of most people because you are asking that question, because you care about getting it right. The people who struggle in the long term are those who just let the mess keep going. But the fact that you're questioning it shows that you want to make an improvement. Now, the problem is that accountants and bookkeepers often throw jargon at you. Bank reconciliation, tracking categories, chart of accounts, and you nod politely while thinking, I just want to know if I am making money or not. And when your accountant says, don't worry, we'll handle it, you then feel completely disconnected from your numbers. So if you're one of those business owners who just leave it up to your accountant and never look at Xero and pull reports, then you almost certainly feel disconnected from the numbers. And we don't want that, because you cannot make informed decisions in your business if you're not using your numbers to back some of those decisions. Now, I also know, as a business owner myself, that you almost certainly started your business for freedom and control, not to feel intimidated by software that's supposed to help you and that actually adds more stress. And here's the harsh truth. If your Xero is not set up properly and not being run consistently following set processes each week and each month, then any reports that you run in Xero could be lying to you, giving you incorrect information, which is the opposite of what you want, okay? You're better off not using information than looking at incorrect information. And the end result is that you could be overpaying tax, missing out on claims, or making decisions on your numbers that are not right. And that's the kind of small mistake that can cost you quietly in the background thousands across the year. But here's the good news. If you can learn to use Xero properly, use it the right way, then it can make a difference. And I want to help you in this video understand if it is the right software for you. Because when it's set up properly, it is like having a financial control room for your business. It's like having, suddenly you're flying an airplane, and before you just had a stick or whatever, an airplane control stick that you had with no dashboard, and you're just flying visually with your eyes. Now, the moment you have Xero in place, you get that full dashboard of information, so you're actually flying with a computerized control panel that's giving you directions on where your airplane is at, where your business is at any point in time. Okay? And it's going to tell you, as long as you're on top of things in your Xero, it's going to tell you what has happened in your business. So the key isn't necessarily, is Xero worth it, but it's to ask yourself, have you made or learned how to make Xero work for you? Because when you understand how to use Xero correctly, you stop guessing what's happening in your business, and you see exactly where your money is going and where you possibly are wasting money. You feel confident to make decisions because your numbers make sense, and tax time becomes calm, not chaotic. So let's take a bit of time to jump into like some features in Xero, the pricing, and I'll tell you what I love about Xero and what frustrates me about Xero and who Xero is perfect for. And I'm going to draw on my 13 years of experience in accounting and finance and my last 8 years of experience in running an accounting practice myself. And I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, and some practical tips along the way. So let me share my screen and we can jump into that right now. Let's dive in, and we will begin by looking at the latest Xero pricing as of November 2025 when I am recording this. So what you can see on the screen here is for UK-based businesses, the different plans that Xero has in place. Let me just drag myself to over here. And you can see they have in recent months rebranded or renamed the different levels of plans and included different sort of features that weren't previously included in different packages. So let me run you through the different levels here. Now, this is a per month price. And as you can see from the screen, I'm showing that they are giving people 90% off for the first 3 months when you buy before the end of November. Okay, so they often run deals where they give you 90% off for 3 months or 80% off for 6 months. So they often have deals for new business. So look out for that. If you decide that Xero is for you, you may as well take advantage of one of their deals. But also note that once that deal is over, once that 3 months of reduced price is over, what will your monthly commitment look like? Well, if you have a look at this figure here, that is what the package typically costs once you've had that discounted promotion period come to an end. So it starts with the most basic package at £16 a month, which is what they call Ignite. Then you've got for £37, and all of these figures are VAT exclusive, so VAT will be added on top. So it'll be £37 plus VAT at 20%. And their Grow package is £37 a month. Now, this is their like standard package. It's what used to be called, I think it was called standard, and it's the one that most UK business owners will fall under. Then you've got your comprehensive at 50 plus VAT and your ultimate at £65 plus VAT. Now, for most businesses, the Grow package will make the most sense. Okay, and that's because the Ignite package, while it contains most or pretty much all the features of the Grow package, Xero limits you by the number of transactions. So in the Ignite package, you're only allowed a maximum of 20 invoices per month and 10 bills per month. So for most businesses, you are going to be processing more than 10 bills a month. And so you will find that the Ignite package is not quite enough for you, and you'll need to move up to the Grow package. Okay, so it's worth coming to this page. You can see here the link is xero.com/UK/pricing plans to review the pricing as at the date you're watching this video if you are considering Xero for your business. So when we delve into the different features that are included with each of these package levels, you'll see the core product features, if you look at these ticks, are pretty much the same across all packages. So up to this line here, pretty much all the different packages included. The main difference between these package levels comes in for the add-on features like things, like if you want more KPI, which is key performance indicator analysis, more graphs and kind of management account type analysis in your business. Also things like multi-currency, cash flow predictions, etc. So more of that forward-looking support for your business or multi-currency stuff, that starts to come in these higher level packages. And that's why I say for most UK business owners, you're going to find that this Grow package does what it needs. If, of course, you're wanting more forecasting or advanced graphs and analysis or multi-currencies, that's when you would step up to the comprehensive or ultimate. So that's it on the Xero pricing. I could spend a bit more time discussing that, but let's move on to keep this video moving at pace. Let's now look at when you come into Xero, and I'm here in a Xero demo
account, what are some of the main features that will make a difference in your business? Some of the main features that you will be using in Xero, and I'm going to quickly show you them so that you can see whether it's something you want to work with. So the first and foremost, and what drives your bookkeeping, is your bank fee. So you can see here is the Xero dashboard, and we can see any bank accounts that we have connected. So in this demo company, there is the main business bank account and a savings account. And you can see any transactions that require reconciliation. And the Xero screen is really user-friendly. You've got on the left-hand side here what's come from your bank. So it's per your bank statement lines. And on the right-hand side, what Xero wants to match it up to, or you can create a transaction. So it's pretty user-friendly, and it's also pretty standard for what you might see in other pieces of software like QuickBooks. Now, one exciting thing that is coming to Xero in 2026 is AI is getting embedded into this reconciliation page. So a lot of this is going to be automated for you, which is quite cool. So if that helps you to kind of nudge the needle across to choosing Xero, it's something to consider, because there is some cool AI integration coming into this reconcile page, which is going to save a lot of headaches in the long run. So this will be one of your main features. So if you like the look of that, then that's definitely a reason to consider Xero. It's quite easy to work through reconciling things. Like you can just hit OK if you're happy with a match, or you can find specific matches. So it's quite easy to select what combination of bills or invoices should be matched to certain payments or receipts. Okay. And you can connect your live bank feed from here, etc. So it's quite easy to work with once you get familiar with it. The next feature that you'll be spending a lot of time with as a business owner is the sales and like an invoice as part of Xero. So if you come here, this top menu, home, takes you to your dashboard. The sales menu is everything to do with your customers, and the purchases is everything to do with your suppliers. So here, if we come to the invoices for our customers, this is where you can see all outstanding invoices, and you can then see who owes you money. You can create invoices, and you can issue quotes, and you can convert them to invoices, etc. So it's quite a nice way to keep track of where you are with your customers. Equally, on the supplier side, if we come to purchases, you can do a purchase overview or sales overview, but where you will find that you spend most of your time is on this bills screen. And just like on the sales screen that we looked at, you can see every single bill that's ever been generated in your business's account, or you can see which ones still need to be paid. And you can drill down, see attachments. So yeah, that's how you work day to day. Next up, the next feature you will probably find you use quite a bit in Xero is if you are VAT registered under the tax menu here, this is where you come and connect up to HMRC, and you can view and file your tax or your VAT returns. Okay. And then in terms of expense claims, there is a nice under purchases here, an expenses feature where you can give your staff or other people on your team access to Xero expenses, and they can submit expense claims. You've also got Xero payroll, which is built in, which is very handy. I previously did not recommend Xero payroll because it was missing a few key ways of customizing your payroll for your staff. But recent updates that are coming through from Xero are fixing a lot of the limitations that were there previously. So now, where it was a tool that I definitely didn't recommend before, it's definitely becoming viable now with these changes that they're rolling out. So it's a great way to then manage all your bookkeeping and accounting needs within one platform because of the payroll feature here. Also, other features that you will probably need to understand and work with is looking at what other apps Xero can integrate with. Now, I can't show you this because it's a demo company, but you can connect apps directly to Xero for things like Stripe and Shopify and Go Cardless and Deck. So my recommendation to you is, if one of those apps I've said to you, like I've listed already, Deck, Stripe, Shopify, or Go Cardless, are something that you use, then Xero is going to work for you. If you need to work out whether your specific software that you are using is going to connect up to Xero, my recommendation is to search for your software name. So if you come to Google, search your software name integration with Xero. So we can say like Stripe integration with Xero. And then you're looking for a web page from your specific software provider. So I'm looking not for, you might find a Xero page on it, but you're actually looking for like a Stripe page or a Go Cardless page or whatever software you're using. And you want to read what they have said about their Xero integration and make sure that it's going to work for you. So if you are considering whether Xero is suitable for your business needs, it is very important that you consider whether any other software you're using connects up to Xero. Okay. So hopefully that gives you a flavor for some of the key features that you will be using day to day in Xero and some key considerations for software that you need to make sure connects up. Okay, so far I have covered the pricing and plan options you have in Xero. I've quickly gone through the top features that you would use as a small business owner in the UK. And so now I want to end off, like the last bit of this, discussing the pros and cons and who Xero really is best for. So let's begin with some of the pros that I see from my point of view as an accountant and business owner myself. Firstly, is the fact that you can have unlimited users on most plans. Okay, so that means that you pay that one subscription fee that I showed you about on the pricing and plans section of this video, and then you can have as many users as you would like on your Xero account. And that's really good because you want to give everyone in your business as much access as you're willing to Xero, so that they can feed information directly into whoever's doing the bookkeep or directly into Xero, and avoid having everything passing through one person, through one bookkeeper into Xero, because that person can become the bottleneck and slow things down. So I'm not suggesting you give everyone on your team access to the whole of Xero, but you can give people invoice only access or Xero expense only access. So the whole idea is that you decentralizing your finance function and so that everyone in the team is feeding in, and Xero doesn't charge you for additional users. So that's one of the pros. The next big positive or pro for going with Xero is that it has strong scalability capabilities. So it will grow with you as your business grows, and you're not going to get to the point where you outgrow it too quickly because it can handle businesses in the multi-million pound range. Okay. And in fact, Xero's limitations don't come from how many millions of pounds turnover it can handle. It's more about the number of transactions that it can process. So if you start to have your business where you're processing hundreds and thousands of transactions a week or per day, then Xero will start to struggle. So as long as you don't end up in a very high volume situation, your Xero very much can handle your business as it grows for many years to come, and you won't need to change software. Okay. If you are a business that has high volume of transactions, so you have hundreds of transactions going through every day, it is worth looking up. The Xero does have like sort of soft limits and hard limits in terms of how many transactions it can handle. So just check that out. And what you can often do to get around that is use another piece of software to handle the volume of transactions. So take, for example, an e-commerce business that might have hundreds of transactions. What typically happens is the e-commerce platform, so like Amazon or Shopify, will handle the volume of transactions, and then only one transaction comes through to Xero each day for the sales that are made. Okay, so that's how higher volume businesses can still use Xero until they're fairly large. Okay, so that's point number 2 as a pro for Xero. Point number 3 is that Xero has always worked very hard on having good integrations with other pieces of software. So it's something that they led the way on, which is why I first went with Xero when I started my accounting practice like 8 years ago, is because they've been really good about building relationships and integrations with thousands and thousands of other pieces of software. And in fact, Xero has always, to my knowledge, and I don't know if that's changed recently, but always for many years now, had the biggest like app marketplace of basically other pieces of software that can talk directly to Xero, which means that if you have other pieces of software running your business, you can then get the benefit of plugging that into Xero, which is a very big positive. It also has strong UK specific features. So Xero has invested very well into the UK market. So when it comes to VAT, CIS, making tax digital, Xero is going to support you really well in those areas. Whereas you might get other pieces of software that haven't focused as much on the UK market. And of course, one other positive of Xero is that it's cloud-based. It's accessible anywhere, whether it's on your phone. And so it's collaboration friendly and easy for you to use it on the go and share it with other people. So those are like the top pros of Vehicle. Those are some of the top pros of using Xero. Let's now talk about some of the cons of Xero. So coming back to pricing, one of the big cons of Xero is that their lowest priced usable package is £37 a month. Yes, they have this Ignite package at £16, but this lowest tier plan has very tight limits, as I mentioned earlier, only 20 invoices and 10 bills per month. So what most businesses find is that it's just not suitable for them, even when they're really quite small. So you hit the point of needing to upgrade quite quickly. So that's why I say if you are considering Xero, make sure you're thinking about it at that £37 plus VAT price range and not assuming that you can necessarily get away with the £16 for too long. Okay. Another con of using Xero is that if you use any of the features incorrectly, because some of the features are quite powerful, like your find and recode, you can make a mess really quickly. But I mean, I suppose this is a con of any accounting package. And this con kind of reflects the difference between if you were using spreadsheets to do your bookkeeping versus Xero. So with a spreadsheet, it's probably, you have version history, you have controls, and you move at a slower pace where you could do quite a lot of actions in a few seconds with some of the features in Xero, like I said, like the find and recode. So you need to know what you're doing and make sure you're confident before you take any action. Okay. Another con of Xero is that they do increase their prices over the year. So each year they generally put the price up. So this price will creep up over time. So for example, around September time each year, we've seen the price go up. Okay. So those are some of the main cons to consider with Xero. Who is Xero really best for? Okay. Because that's an important question to ask yourself. It's very much designed for and benefits UK-based small business owners, freelancers, consultants, and those people who need more than just a spreadsheet running their business finances. But it also is for those businesses that are ready to invest a little bit of time now for clarity and control as they grow. Because if your business grows, like I look after clients whose turnover are 7-8 million pounds a year, and Xero is looking after them perfectly fine. Okay, so it really does have that amazing scope for you to grow with it. Okay, so if you are a business owner who has ambition to scale, like hire staff, track projects, have more detail what's going on in your business, and actually make decisions using your numbers, then using Xero or using any software is going to be better than using your spreadsheets, okay? Versus a small freelancer or consultant or business owner who plans on just keeping it, your revenues staying 30, 40,000 and below, and you don't plan on ever getting bigger than that, which is amazing. If that's where you see your business going, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend Xero for you. It might be a bit of overkill if you're happy just running things on a spreadsheet. But if you are at that size and you're like, no, I want to grow from here, then you should look to start investing in a package once you get into that 30, 40,000 pound mark. That's when you start getting yourself into a nice piece of software like Xero so that you can be ready when you hit that VAT registration threshold, which in the UK currently is £90,000. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some food for thought whether Xero is suitable for you. So a bit of a recap. Yes, I 100% think Xero is worth it. In fact, it's the only piece of software we recommend in my accounting practice. Just make sure you pick the right Xero plan that's going to give you the features that you need. Do check on the latest Xero pricing, as I mentioned, because this is recorded November 2025 and it might have changed. And yeah, I hope you found this useful. If you want more videos like this, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions, any features in Xero you would like me to delve deeper into, then please do comment below and I would be more than happy to help.